Okay, Year 9, I'm now going to show you how to start working on Part A. Part A is the stand that's in the center of your project. And I'm just going to rotate around the one that I've already made. You'll see it's a simple block of timber in the center. The block of timber has a chamfer at the top on all four edges. Okay, chamfer being that nice neat edge that we created. And you'll see that it has those little poles sticking out, and they're sticking out at 30-degree angles. Okay, so if I look at the front view, you'll see right there that it's sticking out at 30-degree angles. They're not just sitting in straight. These are the poles that your mug, your coffee mugs, are going to hang on. Now, if they're pointing flat or pointing downwards, your mug is going to fall off. So it's very important that we have them pointing up. And the reason we're using 30 degrees is because there is a jig in the workshop that will help you drill 30 degrees out. And it's also just high enough that it will hold your cup in place and is suitable for a number of different cup sizes. Okay, so that's what we're working on in this part of the video tutorial. I'm going to delete that out. I'm going to go, as always, to my camera, make sure that I've got parallel projection turned on. I'm going to go to my top view. My top view is going to show me the green and the red axes. And I'm going to start by drawing a single rectangle or a single square. Now, my pole is made of timber that's 42 millimeters wide and 42 millimeters thick. So 42, 42, and that draws me a nice neat square. Change to my isometric view, and there we go, we've got the base. Now, most people are initially going to just want to draw this up and we'll draw the poles in later. Do not do that because it will not work for you. It's very important that we don't do that. Stay at this point here, and you need to follow these instructions quite carefully because drawing those poles in that come out at 30 degrees is very tricky, and we need to be a little bit prepared for that. So I'm going to go back to my top view. I'm going to zoom in so I can see this rectangle nice and neatly. And I'm just going to draw some pencil lines across the diagonals. Now, I draw these diagonals so that I can find this exact center. That's going to be the exact center of this square. Back to my isometric view now, and I can zoom out. And from this center, I want to draw one single line that goes up and make sure it's clicked to the blue axis. And I want it to go up 300 millimeters. Now, 300 millimeters is the height of my pole, or the height of my mug stand. And once I've got that in, I can click and delete those diagonal lines out. So you're going to click on those individually and delete them out. All you should have on your screen now is the square that you started with and a single line along the center. Once you're at this point, we're going to go to camera and we're going to be working in the front view to begin with. Now, in the front view, make sure you fit it in the screen. You're not going to be able to see the square that we've drawn, which is down the bottom, but you should be able to see that center line. We now need to mark out where exactly do we want our different dowels to come out of to hang our mugs on. Now, normally a mug stand will have 6 posts on them, so we're going to have to measure out 6 different sections. Now, we're going to start by drawing down from the top using our measuring tape, and we're going to go down 40 millimeters. So click 40, enter, and you'll see your little plus button arrives. That's good, that's where we want to start with. We're then going to draw down 100 millimeters, and we're then going to draw down 40 millimeters again. Now at this point, we're going to go back to our pencil. We're going to draw our lines, and our lines are going to come out and up from this center posts. The only problem is it's very difficult for us to draw our lines at specific angles. Okay, now that we've measured down and we've got those 3 different markings, we're going to start drawing out exactly where do we want our posts to be coming from. Now, from these center lines, we want our posts to come out, but we also want them to come up at an angle. Before we even worry about the angle, we're just going to draw them out to start with. So we're going to draw them out. We're going to draw them out to a length of 60 millimeters. At the top marking, we're going to do one on the left and one on the right. At the bottom marking, we're going to do one on the left and one on the right. We're not going to draw one at the middle marking yet. And I'll explain that to you shortly. Now that we've got these lines coming out, we're actually going to use the rotate tool. We're going to select from here to here, and we're going to draw up. Now you'll see how my whole project is moving. That's not what you want, so if you've got that, just make sure that you don't have any lines selected. Okay, you only want to have one single line selected, not all of them. So the best way to do that is to start with your line selected before you select the rotate tool. Now, you can move that up again. You can select any degree that you would like. It should snap into 30, which is that second notch. But if it doesn't, you can just type in again that you want it at 30, and that will change for you. Select the next one, rotate tool, start from the center, then move to the outer, and click it in place. Select the next line, start from the center, move to the outer, zoom up, select the last line, center, outer, and up. Okay, now I'm going to move back to isometric view at the moment, so Command 7, and you'll see right here on the screen, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 little arms sticking out. That's what I'm going to use to start as my axes. And that's going to be a little bit easier for me to draw later on if they're like this. If I rotate around, you'll see that I don't have any arms coming out in the other direction. So that's what we're going to use, that middle marking that we measured out earlier. So in the front view, it looks like this. We're going to now change to the left view or the right view, doesn't matter which one you use. Pencil marking, we're going to draw it 60 millimeters out. To the left, 60 millimeters to the right, and again, select one of them, use your rotate tool, start from the center, rotate up to 30 degrees. Okay, back to isometric view, rotate it around. It looks a little bit odd from isometric view, that's okay. If you rotate it around, you'll see that it does make a little bit more sense now. We've basically made a bit of a skeleton for what our mug stand is going to look like. Now that we've got that, I'm going to get this center post and I'm going to delete it completely. So select all the different sections of the center. And I'm also going to, if I've got my measuring lines in there as well, I'm going to click on those and delete them. I am now going to use the push-pull tool to pull my 42 by 42 piece of timber up. And again, we want that to be a height of 300. If I rotate around, that looks a little bit more like our mug stand. Okay, but we're not finished yet. What we need to do is we need to look at every single one of these lines, and we need to be drawing a circle on the end of them. So we're going to change to our circle tool. And if I draw a circle like that, you'll see that it's going out on the blue axis. That's not going to work for me. If I draw a circle like this on the green axis, that does work very well for me. So I'm going to draw that circle out, and I'm going to draw that circle to have a radius of 4 millimeters. That's because we're going to be using a dowel that's 8 millimeters in total, or has a radius of 4 millimeters. Now you're going to have to rotate your project around quite a lot to make sure that you can draw each of your circles in. That's okay, that's what I'm doing as well. Just rotate to a few different angles. Make sure that on this one I'm using the red axis. So the red axis when you've got your top and your bottom one. It's the little bit different when you're just working the middle one. So find the centers of each of your lines. That's not a great angle. I'm just going to have to rotate that around there. Red axis, 4 millimeters. And again, I'm just getting 4 millimeters by typing it in on my keyboard and getting it down here in this radius section. Okay, at this point, I'm going to go back to my front view. Now on my front view, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of lines. They're the side view of the circles that I have drawn. Okay, the side view of my circles. I'm going to need to rotate these to be 30 degrees as well. So select one, select my rotate tool, center, to the outer, and rotate. Now, why am I doing this? I'm doing this because when I put my dowel in, the end of my dowel is going to be flat along this point, and it's going to be traveling down flat. It's not going to be chopped off at that very strange angle, okay? So we're rotating each of those circles along the correct axes, moving them to 30 degrees. Once you've done all 4 at that view, again, change it to your side view now, and you're going to change these last ones here. So select and rotate from middle to bottom. Select, rotate from middle. There we go. Let's go back to our isometric view and zoom out. And that's what we've got. Now that we've got these, what we are going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to delete those center lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're also going to start using our push-pull tool to draw our posts all the way into our timber. And almost done. Back to my isometric view now. And I've now done my center of my mug stand. Now at this point, I'm going to highlight all of it. I'm going to right click, make component, and I'm going to call this part A. Again, I can put some descriptions in. Radiata pine, 42 millimeters by 42 millimeters is the type of timber we're using. And again, I can use my colors to color that in. Check it out, well done. Save your project, and you can now move on to the 3rd video of this tutorial series, which will show you how to assemble your project in SketchUp.